It begins as a whisper, a faint suggestion in the back of your mind that soon blossoms into a full-throated demand. It's a craving so powerful, so specific, that it can eclipse all other thoughts. You see the familiar golden arches, the cheerful red logo, the stylized crown. You can almost smell it before you're even there, the unmistakable, deeply comforting scent of hot, salty French fries. You pull up, place your order, and are handed a warm, grease-spotted paper bag. The rustle of the wrapping, the first bite of the burger, the immediate wave of satisfaction that washes over you. This is more than just food. This is comfort. This is a reward after a long day. This is a quick, reliable escape from the complexities of cooking and the pangs of hunger. We all know, on some level, that it isn't health food. We accept this as a simple fact of life, a minor trade-off for convenience and pleasure. But perhaps unhealthy is too soft, too gentle a word. Perhaps it is a dangerously inadequate descriptor for what is actually happening. Do we truly understand what occurs on a molecular level when we consume that meal? What biological cascade is being triggered inside our cells? And why, even when we know better, does that craving feel so utterly irresistible? This is a journey past the glossy wrappers and smiling mascots to uncover a frightening truth. Fast food is not merely high in calories, it is a feat of sophisticated chemical and psychological engineering, deliberately designed to hijack our biology, rewrite our brain chemistry, and trap us in a cycle of craving and consumption. To understand the power of fast food, we must first abandon the notion that we are eating food in the traditional sense. Much of what is served is more accurately described as a food-like substance, an edible product whose primary components have been so heavily processed, refined, and reformulated that they bear little resemblance to their natural origins. This transformation is not accidental. It is the result of billions of dollars in research and development aimed at one goal: creating a product that is maximally rewarding and minimally satiating. The architects of this alchemy are what food scientists call the Unholy Trinity: sugar, fat, and salt. These are the foundational pillars of nearly every fast food item, and their proportions are calibrated with scientific precision to hit what is known as the Bliss point. This is the peak sensory experience, the perfect combination that lights up the pleasure centers of the brain more intensely than any single ingredient could alone, all while overriding your body's natural "I'm full" signals. The sugar is rarely just table sugar. It's often high fructose corn syrup, HFCS, a cheaper, sweeter, and more industrially pliable alternative that is hidden in everything from the ketchup and the special sauce to the very bread of the bun. Our livers metabolize HFCS differently than glucose, converting it more readily into fat and promoting insulin resistance at an accelerated rate. The fat is not the healthy kind found in avocados or nuts. It is typically a blend of highly processed, pro-inflammatory industrial seed oils like soybean or canola oil, engineered for a long shelf life and a low cost. And the salt is deployed in staggering quantities, not just for flavor, but to act as a preservative and mask the bland chemical taste of the hyper-processed ingredients. This chemical foundation is then layered with an illusion. That smoky grilled flavor on your chicken patty? It didn't come from a grill. It was synthesized in a lab and sprayed on as a flavor solution. The creamy strawberry taste in your milkshake? It may be a proprietary blend of over 50 different volatile chemicals, none of which have ever been near an actual strawberry. This is a crucial part of the design. It trains our palates to crave hyper-flavors, sensory experiences so intense that real natural food begins to taste dull and uninteresting by comparison. We are not just eating a meal, we are consuming a carefully constructed chemical mirage. The moment that first bite enters your mouth, your body is thrust into a state of high alert, scrambling to manage an unprecedented biological assault. The experience of eating a typical fast food meal can be broken down into a timeline of systemic shock and dysfunction. Within the first 10 minutes, the sugar floodgates open, the refined carbohydrates in the bun, and the hidden sugars in the sauce cause a massive rapid spike in your blood glucose levels. Your brain registers this as a major reward, releasing a surge of the neurotransmitter dopamine, the same chemical responsible for the pleasurable high associated with addictive drugs. This is the immediate blissful rush that hooks you. In response to the sugar tidal wave, your pancreas goes into overdrive, pumping out a huge amount of insulin to try and shuttle the glucose out of your bloodstream and into your cells. At 20 to 30 minutes, the salt offensive begins. The colossal dose of sodium, often exceeding a full day's recommended intake in a single meal, starts to wreak havoc. Your body, desperate to restore its delicate fluid balance, begins pulling water from your cells, triggering a sensation of dehydration and bloating. This forces your kidneys to work harder and puts immediate strain on your cardiovascular system as your heart has to pump harder against constricted blood vessels to circulate your blood. Your blood pressure begins to rise. At 40 to 60 minutes, the inevitable crash. The massive insulin surge has done its job too well, clearing so much sugar from your blood that your levels now plummet. This sugar crash leaves you feeling tired, irritable, foggy, and weak. And what does your brain crave in this state of low energy? More fast, easy sugar. The cycle is designed to perpetuate itself. Meanwhile, your digestive system is waging a separate war, struggling to break down the highly processed fats and complex chemical additives. This triggers an acute inflammatory response throughout your body as your immune system reacts to these foreign, unnatural substances as if they were a threat. Repeatedly subjecting your body to this violent cycle, the sugar spike, the insulin surge, the salt shock, the inflammatory reaction, and the energy crash is not a benign act. Over time, it is the direct pathway to chronic disease. The constant demand on the pancreas leads to insulin resistance, the precursor to type 2 diabetes. The relentless inflammation becomes chronic, laying the groundwork for heart disease, arthritis, and even certain cancers. And the unnatural ingredients decimate the delicate ecosystem of your gut microbiome, compromising your immunity and mental health. This isn't just an unhealthy meal, it's a dress rehearsal for systemic breakdown. The most frightening aspect of this entire process is that the war is not just being waged in your gut and your bloodstream, it is being won inside your brain. The irresistible pull of fast food is not a failure of willpower. It is the predictable outcome of a system deliberately engineered to create addiction. The comparison to hard drugs is not mere hyperbole, it is a neurological fact. The dopamine reward system that fast food so effectively targets is the same primitive pathway responsible for ensuring our survival by rewarding behaviors like eating and procreation. It is also the very same system hijacked by addictive substances like nicotine, cocaine, and opioids. When the Bliss point combination of sugar, fat, and salt delivers that intense dopamine rush, it tells your brain, this is critically important for survival. Remember this. Do it again. The brain's learning and memory centers, the hippocampus and amygdala, forge a powerful connection between the food and the intense pleasure. With repeated exposure, your brain begins to adapt. The dopamine receptors in your brain start to down-regulate, becoming less sensitive to the stimulation. This is the classic mechanism of tolerance. The same small serving of fries or single cheeseburger no longer provides the same euphoric hit. To achieve that original feeling of satisfaction, you need to eat more, or you need to seek out items that are even more intensely flavored, fattier, and sweeter. This neurological process explains the relentless trend of supersizing and the ever more outlandish menu creations. Your brain is not just craving food, it's chasing a high that is becoming progressively harder to reach. This biological trap is reinforced by a relentless psychological campaign of conditioning that begins in early childhood. The bright red and yellow logos, the catchy jingles, the playgrounds, and the toy giveaways are not just marketing, they are powerful tools for creating deep-seated positive emotional associations. Fast food becomes inextricably linked with fun, family, happiness, and celebration. This conditioning is so effective that even seeing a familiar logo can trigger a dopamine release in the brain before you even eat, creating a powerful anticipatory craving. Add to this the strategic placement of restaurants on every major corner, and the sheer overwhelming convenience in a society plagued by decision fatigue, and the choice becomes almost involuntary. You haven't just been outmaneuvered, your brain has been taken hostage.